Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Historical Commission meeting. It is Wednesday, November 17th at 6 p.m. Pursuant to the open meeting law, any person may make an audio or video recording of this public meeting or may transmit the meeting through any medium. Attendees are therefore advised that such recordings or transmissions are being made whether perceived or unperceived by those present and are deemed acknowledged and permissible. Can I get a roll call, please?
Joyce Roderick's present.
Rick Mancini, present.
Connie Soul.
Ruben Amaral.
Kristen Cantera Oliveira present. We do have a full board this evening. We do have 2 open seats. Do we have any citizen input? Okay. So first on the agenda, I had a notice of intent to demolish structure, and it was 825 New Boston Road, and that is not on our register. It's not a historically significant structure in any way, so I did just send a letter saying that it wasn't on the register. Okay, moving on, correspondence. I had Michael Labas here requesting letters of support for Community Preservation Committee applications for the Fall River Department of Community Utilities for funding for 3 projects. They had Barnabas Blossom Workshop, Interlochen Cultural Resource Stabilization Project, and North Watuppa Pond Seawalls Condition Assessment and Restoration Plan. I received an email from Mike this afternoon saying that neither he nor Mr. Furlan would be at the meeting.
I recommend that we just put this off and bring it up at our next meeting. There's no representation, so there's nothing to discuss at this point.
If that's a motion, I
That's a
second it.
motion.
Okay, so I have a motion to table it till the next meeting, and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Okay, just so everyone knows, the policy of the board is that if somebody is requesting letters of support for any reason, that they do appear before us, just so that we can, if we have any questions or concerns at all, there's somebody here to answer them, so. Okay, so next up, we have Michael Keane, and he is requesting letters of support for the Community Preservation Committee applications for funding. And he has 2 that he's requesting: the Central Fire Station, North Facade, Bedford Street Restoration, and the Antioch School Exterior Restoration, Phase 1.
Good evening, everyone. Michael Keane, Civitex Architects. Thank you for having me here. And the first letter of request or support that we're looking for is on behalf of the City of Fall River for the Central Fire Station on Bedford Street. And so, did everyone get a copy of the application that we submitted to the CBC? So essentially what we're looking to do is to restore the north elevation, the north facade, which is the Bedford Street facade of the station. And so part of the scope of work that we're looking to do is masonry restoration, which would be repointing the existing joints and replacement of any brick that's damaged. There is some cornice work that is in need of repair, and you can see that in some of the photos that we took. We did do a drone survey back in August of the building, and there are definite concerns with the cornice work on the Bedford Street and the Troy Street side. However, we talked about focusing with the city and the fire chief on focusing on the Bedford Street side first, really, and putting the money there first, with the anticipation that hopefully in the future we could take care of some of the other elevations and address some of the other concerns there as well. So additional work that we're looking to do is replacement of the existing windows. They're not original windows, they are replacement windows. They're not glass, they're plexiglass. And so those windows have failed over the years. Additionally, the overhead doors, the apparatus bay doors, we're looking to replace those as well. We've gone through and started to collect information, historic information on the building, including photographs and looking at the window type configuration and also the overhead door configuration and what those details look like. So that would be incorporated into any of the work that we do. The plan is also, there are these decorative metal panels, which I'm sure you've all seen. Those are all in need of restoration. And some of them are quite deteriorated, but that's all also part of the scope of work that we're looking to do on the north facade. Some of the other things that we've talked about is, or actually included in our request in the application, is to remove the existing air conditioners. The air conditioners on the second floor are just sort of residential type air conditioners. And so we look at this as sort of, the total package or restoration of that entire facade. So to restore those metal panels and then go back in and have them install these through window AC units doesn't make any sense because they're going to start to drip onto the metal panels. So part of what we're looking to do as well is to get rid of those and to install inside the building some ductless cooling units, or DCUs. They're mini splits, which I'm sure you've seen some buildings that are mounted up high inside the building. And then any sort of piping, excuse me, would be routed from the second floor and then through the roof to some condensers. And those condensers are very small, maybe about that so high off of the roof. So it's not something visually that we anticipate that you would see from Bedford or Troy Street. There's a bit of a parapet there, as you all know, I'm sure, that would conceal that. So they'd be set a bit further back. So that's essentially what the plan is, or what our goal is for the building.
That's exciting.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty exciting. And, so we've had a few meetings now about it, and just to talk about sort of that first, it was a little bit of an ambitious discussion initially to do both elevations, but I think we want to focus and make sure we get, at least the one right.
And I think that'll just spur the interest in getting the rest of it finished once they can see how valuable it is and how great it's going to look. And I think too, the other thing that people might not think about when you're talking about putting in the splitters instead of the window ACs, and besides the fact that it would drip down on the metal things, you're talking about the splitters would maintain a better interior climate and actually help to preserve the interior of the building as well, because when you have the window units, it's it's
Right.
completely different, and people don't sometimes realize why that type of heating and cooling system is important for historic buildings.
Right, exactly, yeah. So it's more than just doing, making it look, like it originally did. It's also thinking about building systems as well. So I know the roof was replaced a few years ago, but, part of that cornice work, you can see it even from our office, which we can look down on that roof from our office, and you can see that some of the masonry is spalling onto that roof. And so that's part of the discussion too. So it's coming up and over to make sure that it doesn't damage the new roof.
Well, I, for one, support this 100%. I think it's
I
a
do
great
too.
project, and
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to
Yeah.
seeing it
I've been waiting for this one.
Yeah,
I have.
And the information that you sent us was very descriptive, Mike. I want to
Yeah.
thank you for that, both that and the Ainsley Yard.
yeah,
And the photos. The photos are really
Yeah. Yeah.
helpful.
It's-
Nice job.
Yeah, I think if you grew up in the city, and you drove by this, fire station when you were young, and to see it now, it's really sad, but remembering what it did look like and
yeah.
what it could be
yeah.
again really is.
Yeah, and there's more information that we've had a chance to collect since this initial application's gone in. So there's more details that we've been finding out about the building, and its original construction was 1931. It was designed in 1930. But there's photograph, information that we've been collecting, and it's an interesting history with the building, so it's pretty exciting.
So would anyone like to make a motion to?
I'll make the motion to give a letter of support for the CPC for the Central Fire Station restoration exterior.
I have a motion.
And I'll second.
Okay, a motion and a second for a letter of support to fund the CBC application request for the Central Fire Station. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Okay, so we will get a letter out for that.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for wanting
Thanks.
to do this. This is great.
Everything on it.
I still want to
Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Diane Carrere, and I'm the vice principal at the Antioch School.
I'm John Frost. I'm the principal of the Antioch School.
And Mike Keene, Subtex Architects.
You're welcome.
Thank you for having us.
So, thank you. And so what we're looking to do with the school, just to kind of give you a little bit of a backstory with the discussions that we were having initially, the initial plan discussions, I would say, were to look at recreating the original porte cochere, which was demolished about 20 years
about 20.
years or so ago. But however, looking at the building,
hold on one second.
Sure.
Joyce, it doesn't work that way. That's just to pick up in the air so that when you're tapping on that, it's gonna be really loud on the TV. Okay, sorry.
that's okay. So looking at the building in its entirety and the condition issues that we start to notice with the siding and some of the wood details and the woodwork on the exterior, the discussion started to shift more towards that and look at this as potentially a two-phase project, with phase one being restoration of the main building, and then phase two hopefully following, which would be a recreation of the porte cochere. And so what we're looking to do is replace the existing wood siding with new wood siding. Any of the woodwork that's there now, we're looking to preserve, of course, and consolidate to make sure that we're keeping that original woodwork and the details that are there. The roof was replaced about 5 years or so ago, so we're not looking to do anything for the roof right now. It's primarily the wood siding and restoration of the wood siding. So the phase two, which is not what we're asking for right now, but I just wanted to make a point to note that, is that 20 years ago, there was some pretty extensive photographic documentation that was done of the porte cochere, and a lot of close-up shots and detail shots, and even there's a photograph in there too that shows, what the configuration was, the size of the granite foundation system that supported the columns, which, supported the roof structure of the porte cochere. So we've mapped all of that out as part of our survey. So if something happens that, the concrete gets damaged even further, or, we've got that information. So we know what that profile is and how far away it was from the building. And based on the photos that we've got, I think we can get a very, accurate recreation of what that porte cochere was. That's not what we're submitting on because, again, I think the priority actually is the building itself. That's really what's in most need from what we can see. And just like with the last application, we did do a drone survey of the building and looked for any other condition issues. There are some other areas that, primarily some of the chimneys there that need some repointing, so that will be part of that too. We're seeing some vegetation growth, minor, but there is some vegetation growth in the mortar joints. So we're looking to remove that and also do some repointing work to make sure that it's preserved. So that would be part of this project as well. So that's
Another great project.
yeah.
And it does sit in the local historic district as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
It
it's
does.
Jerome Seaboard House, constructed in 1895. There's been modifications that have happened over the years, like back in the 1930s, and there's a bit of a summary there that we put together. So there's been, a bit of an addition. I want to say it's on the south side as well. So there's been some alterations, of course, over the years. So, but it is on the local historic, the city's historic, and it's also in the national as part of the historic district. So
I don't think the CPC has funded anything in the 40C, have they? So this would be the first.
They were going to, because they were gonna fund People Incorporated,
Right.
Oh.
Right.
and.
Right, they're next door.
Yeah, but People
Yeah.
This will be
Incorporated
the
turned it
first
down.
one. Oh, okay.
So it will end up being the first one.
yeah,
See
yeah.
that? Ooh.
Yeah.
I, that porte cochere is
I
just
know.
Isn't that something?
stunning.
That's-
It really
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
Like, it's, just to see that again would
The
be.
column, the details on the columns.
I know,
Yeah.
the top is amazing. They just they don't do things like that anymore, and it's a shame, but it would be
Now,
so nice
yeah,
to see that
unfortunately, at
again.
that time,
Yeah.
it had termite damage.
Yeah.
It literally was, you touch it, the
Yeah.
columns were wobbling. And for a school, you just can't have that, like
Right.
the kids coming and going front
Right.
doorway. But it would be a great aspect to go back to its original state.
Yeah, but we've been looking at, it's a couple of people in our office that have backgrounds in historic preservation like I do, and, they're kind of going like 6 steps ahead of me and looking at like the entablature, and there are companies out there that still make and fabricate details like this. So one person in particular, she's looking at a lot of those details and seeing what could be done.
Is that Meg?
So part of what we did too is that we surveyed the building, the entire exterior. We went through and we field verified all of the windows and and drafted everything. So we've got an accurate existing condition plan of all of the elevations, which will be helpful.
As Rick said earlier, again, very detailed, excellent. It gives us a lot of information. And when I started looking at it, I was a yes on phase 1, and then I saw porte cochere on phase
Right.
2, and I was
Right.
sold.
We all want it.
Good.
So that's essentially the project, the phase 1 that we're looking for support.
Okay, well, you've got my support. I'll make the motion if you like, to give the letter of support for the Antioch School.
Okay, so I have a motion for a letter of support for Antioch School. Can I get a second?
I'll second that motion.
Okay, motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you for being
I
here.
drive,
and-
and I drive by there almost daily, so I'll be.
Exactly, when it's done, you come visit.
We're always there.
Yeah,
We've been there a long time.
Definitely, yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
All right, thank you. Have a good Thanksgiving, everyone, too.
You too.
All right.
Mike, I'll be in touch.
Yeah, all right, thanks.
All right.
Thank you very much, Mike, and
Yeah.
Diane and Joe. John,
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, she still has 1 page. Oh, thank you. When she's done, I'll. Yeah, it gives me. Okay, so, anything else anybody wants to say about any of this?
No.
I'm excited
It's a
to
great
restore the windows too.
Yes, definitely.
And replacing the trim.
Very excited.
They are too. The thing is that the CPC really got some great projects this year. It's gonna be very difficult to pick. It will, because there's just so many. But those are
Well, I hope these two projects
Yeah,
make it.
We'll
Yeah.
give them letters of support, absolutely.
They both need it, for
Yeah.
sure.
sure, yeah.
All right, so, moving on to old business, 1620 Bedford Street, the Waterworks Complex. So as, we had talked about last month, there was basically a clear cutting of all the trees, some of which were old growth trees, and, they are putting up a new, modern looking building that we feel does not fit the historic nature of the complex that is listed on the state and national register, historic register, as well as the city register of significant structures. And so the architect for the water department did reach out to me, and we did speak, and I expressed our concerns about the building and about not being included in the conversation of what was going to happen before it happened. And so I did tell him I would like to speak with Mr. Ferland about what happened and about being part of the process going forward, so that we could offer our thoughts on what the building might look like as opposed to what they have right now. And as of yet, Mr. Ferland has not contacted me. So, other than just the email today saying that they were not gonna be at the meeting.
And you have already requested to meet with them, correct? I'm just writing down. With Mr. Ferland?
Yeah, I spoke, when I spoke with the architect, I told him that I wanted to,
Okay,
Mr. Ferland to contact me so that we could, talk about the
okay.
building that was gonna be put there. So that was, I think, 2 weeks ago maybe, and I have not heard back yet.
Okay.
Merger of the Historical Commission and Historic District Commission. So I still don't have any real updates on that, other than just the last, before the last meeting, I had gotten an email from Attorney Rumsey stating that he hadn't had a chance to look over any of the changes that I had sent to him, because he was busy with everything going on prior to the election, and he was hoping that after the election things would quiet down and he'd have more time. And then today I did receive an email, I was CC'd on an email from the city council clerk, and she had sent an email to Attorney Rumsey on behalf of Councilor Liberty LeBeau, who was looking for an update on the merger, because she said that they had tabled it in the ordinance committee, which she chairs, and that she wanted an update as to what was going on, because it's been March, I believe, will be 3 years since ordinance committee first sent it to the old city attorney, and now it's going to be going into the second term of Mayor Coogan, and we are still waiting to be.
So this is an email from Pam that went to Attorney Rumsey,
It was from the.
and you were CC'd?
Yeah, I was
Okay.
CC'd, actually, I was CC'd, and Councilor Lewell was CC'd on it. It was from the city council clerk.
Oh,
No,
Oh, yeah.
Carol, is it?
oh, okay.
Hang on, I can tell you exactly who it is. Hold on. Let me just find it. It is from Colleen Taylor, Clerk of
Colleen,
Committees.
that's it,
Yep,
yes.
Colleen Taylor, okay.
Okay.
So, hopefully we'll have an answer soon. Hopefully we don't make it to the 3-year mark. That'd be nice. And the important thing is because even though it's not our fault, there are some of us that are serving on 2 committees and we're not supposed to be because it really is violating, or there is one interpretation that says we are in violation of the charter. The city attorney, Councilor Rumsey, has said that we are not in violation. It's his interpretation that we're not. But either way, whether we are or we're not, it would be.
It's just taxing
It
because
is.
we don't have all our seats filled, and
We
so
don't.
it's difficult to have a.
It is. Right now,
Yeah.
on
A
the Historic
quorum.
District Commission, we only have 4 people on the commission. We need 4 people to have a quorum, so if, just like tonight, we couldn't have a meeting because we had 1 person. Here, we have 5 people.
And the
It's-
merger would facilitate the meetings and facilitate the actions and activities of this board.
Yes, it would.
No, it needs to happen. Period.
It would make it easier too, just for the fact that we wouldn't have to have 2 separate meetings, 2 separate minutes, 2 separate, any of that stuff.
So
And
Pam-
people forget we are not paid to do this, so this is, some of us are serving on these 2 committees and it's, two things out of our
So Pam is the chair of the board,
of the,
Ordinance.
ordinance board.
Ordinance
And they had
committee, yeah.
tabled it.
they had tabled it back, I believe, in March of 2019. Okay. Anything else? I know. I know. Ruben's head shake says it all. All right, so when I have any more information, I will update you all. So preservation guidelines updates, I did receive an email on that as well. Right here. Oops. So we were waiting to hear back from Dominique because she was actually waiting to receive payment from the city for the initial part of what she was doing. So I know that Jim Soul from the Preservation Society had reached out to her to see if things were on track, and she said she had received the check. She was traveling through next Friday and would be able to get back the week of the 22nd, so she said she will have the first sections on the week of the 29th, so we should be receiving at least the first parts of that for us to
That is
look over.
splendid.
Yes, yes it
Splendid.
is.
It's really exciting.
It would be great if it was done and we were merged and we would then have like all of these things and just, it would be like
Mhm.
Christmas
Have a
all over again, I
celebration.
know, I know.
What a Christmas present.
Yes. So, so things are on track for that. Great. And I will let you know when I have that, I'll send it out to everyone and we can all look it over individually. Anything else on old business? Okay. So new business, what I have, so tomorrow night on the ZBA agenda, there is someone that's applying for a variance. This is at 403 Division Street. And they're looking for a variance to adapt the school building that's there into 18 residential units. And I guess initially, it had been like 20 units or 20-something units with only 11 parking spaces, and they
Yeah.
said that was no good. So
20 units was the original number.
yeah, with only 11 spaces. So now they have it down to 18 units with 18 parking spaces. And so the planning board had said that worked well for them, and I had gotten a notification from both planning board and from Ruben about this, that we should maybe think about discussing it. And so the building is the old St. Louis school. It was the parish school building, and it's on Division Street, and it's a really, really nice old building. And for some reason, that is not on the significant structures list.
So we should nominate it to be, no?
Well, we should, but we also have to, the owner would have to agree, which I would imagine he's going to, because I'm going to guess he's gonna want historic tax credits if it goes through. But my thought on this, and I'm not sure if it was your thought as well, is that it would be probably a nice thing for us to send a letter of support for this project. Because if they don't get the variance for that, more than likely this building will sit there and it will deteriorate and it's going to be torn down at some point, so then another historic school will be lost to the wrecking ball rather than, turned into living space.
Did you share the letter from Bill with everyone? I went through the email, but I don't know if you sent it to everyone. But it essentially
No, I didn't.
backs up developing this as an 18-unit building and restoring it because he doesn't want to see
Do you
it.
want me to read the letter?
Bill,
Kenny.
oh, okay.
Bill Kenny.
They're gonna maintain the integrity of the building?
Yeah,
It's
Yep.
historic integrity?
Mhm.
Okay,
It was built
that was
in
gonna be
nine-
my question.
1906.
1906, yeah.
Okay.
It really is a nice looking building.
It's a beautiful building. I have a friend that
Mhm.
lives right around the corner, so I go by it.
So the letter of support from us will, in there, state that maintaining the integrity, historic integrity of the building is very vital, blah, blah, blah.
Well, at this point, I think it's more just somebody's willing to do something with that
Yes.
building that is not going to tear it down.
Right, yeah.
Afterwards, if he's gonna do anything historic and he's gonna want tax credits, then he would come before us and,
But in our letter of support, wouldn't it be nice to just note in there that we're interested in the building maintaining its historic
Look,
look and
Mhm.
structure?
I
Yes.
like that idea.
yeah.
Right. Sure.
Yep, we can put
Yeah,
that
I
in.
yeah,
agree.
and invite him down so we can talk to him.
Mhm.
Well, the letter that we're sending isn't to the owner of the property, it's
Oh, I
to
know.
it's to the ZBA.
Mhm.
But yeah, we
Then
can,
to
I mean,
spell
we
that
can
out
reach out.
into the
Yeah.
ZBA.
We
so
can reach
it's-
out to the
it's-
owner as well and just let him know that,
Mhm.
But I mean,
We're here
if we
to-
send it to the ZBA, it's gonna be read and,
it's tomorrow night, so I have to
Yeah.
get the letter done tonight so I can send it in the morning, because they're meeting tomorrow night.
Good, excellent.
But I think, and plus, you're talking, and I think too, what people don't always see, why historic preservation too is good for economic development, because first of all, if the building comes down, you're gonna have an empty lot, and I don't know that anybody's gonna put up a building where you're gonna have 18 people living there, and you're talking 18 people that will be going maybe a couple of blocks down to all of the businesses that are on Columbia Street. There's businesses right in that little area, there's stores, there's, I believe, a restaurant either on that street or following street, there's shops, things within walking distance of that area. So historic preservation is gonna, spur economic development as
Mhm.
well, and,
100%.
yeah. And the park is a block, literally a block the opposite way, and people can use the park and things like that, so,
Yeah, I
Good
said,
stuff.
make a motion to write a letter to support the 403 Division Street project.
with an emphasis on historic preservation.
With an emphasis on historic preservation. Thank you.
And I'll second that motion.
Okay, so I have a motion to send a letter supporting the request for a variance on the 403 Division Street, and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, so new business, open discussion. Does anyone have anything? I can't think of anything. I think I've included everything on here. Okay, so my one thing, our next scheduled meeting is Tuesday, December 21st. I think that's cutting it a little close to Christmas for some people. So, I will check and see if it's okay with everyone. If there are any other dates available that are closer to maybe the beginning of December, or at least like maybe around the 10th or the 12th or something, so that we, once I have the dates that are available, if you can let me know what works for you, because I know that Mike Keane has 2 other CPC projects that are looking for letters of support, so they're gonna come to us in December. They were also, it's projects that we've sent letters for in the past. It's an ongoing project, but our policy is that they still come before us just to update us on anything, or if we have any questions. So they're gonna be coming, it's 2 projects.
We'll try the week prior, is that what you're
In
thinking?
December. The week prior, or even the week before that. Whatever, I will see what's available in December. I will send that out to everybody, and
Okay,
we can pick a date.
perfect.
So,
Good job.
okay, so
Motion?
anything else? Okay, so it is, 6:37, so I have a motion to adjourn. Do I have a second?
Second that motion.
Motion and a second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. Thank you, everyone, and have a good night.
Thank you.
So-